All right, let's get right back to it. And we have now. Oh, did you give a official pick? Yes, you did on that game. Okay, so we have now the Philadelphia Eagles at the Chicago Bears. Now, I really like this game as well. Um, However, Justin Fields was at the NP today, which was Wednesday, with the flu. So this game's fantasy outlook definitely can depend on Justin Fields' health. Obviously, the flu's been riding around the NFL, wreaking some havoc. So just keep an eye on that for sure. Um, Now, this game is interesting for one particular reason. I feel like the Bears are in a spot where they are looking at the team that they want to be later, like in their in what their rebuild is right now. For Chicago, they want to be the Eagles, and the reason why I'm saying that is Justin Fields, similar to Jalen Hurts, is a mobile quarterback who can throw, has a nice down the field passing game. Is still a little bit rough around the edges, needs to be refined. The defense is had to disassemble pieces to then reassemble pieces for the upcoming drafts, and that's what they're going to try and stockpile. So it's a little bit of a not a mirror situation, but looking across the aisle at something that you want to be. So I just thought that was a little bit like interesting, in my humble opinion. Um, Random, I know, but that's just weirdly how I view this game. Yeah.
I got you.
No, I hear it. Okay. So we got a lot of options, mostly on the Eagles side of the ball. Um, if we have forgotten, the Bears defense stinks. They are not good at the football. Um, the last time we actually got to see them, I believe they played against the Jets, maybe. Um, no, they played against Green Bay and were equally as bad, especially against fantasy wide receivers. Christian Watson had his way against them. So it's going to be a great day for Devontae Smith, and AJ Brown. You fire them up with full confidence. It's going to be a very nice day for Jalen Hurts as well. Um, I mean, 30 points from Jalen Hurts is probably something that if he doesn't get, I am very upset as a fantasy in this game. Um,
Thanks.
and like that, I know that's like, oh, that's so many points, blah blah blah. Bro, he is the QB1 on the season, and just been absolutely smashing every single game. He's probably he is the front runner for the MVP right now. And you just have to keep riding in the flames and just uh, loving what you're seeing from Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely love all of it. And I do hope he goes for 30. I do believe and I do want it to be an absolute bloodbath by the Eagles, and I think it will be. I don't think the Chicago's gonna say Bulls for a second. I don't think the Bears are at the same caliber based on what I've seen this season. So I think it'll be a problem when they bench Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter and I miss out on all those extra fantasy points.
So I hear what you're saying, and it's definitely a possibility because the Eagles' defense is very stout. However, Justin Fields has over the second half of the season when he's been healthy, and obviously coming off the bye week, um, has been putting up points. He's been putting up points. The Bears have been putting up points. Um, how exactly? I'm not sure. Even after the Darnell Mooney injury, they put up a good number against uh, against the Packers. So I mean, I think this is going to be a little bit. like the 48.5 makes sense to me, even though that number is I believe implying with the 9 points that is I believe that only gives the Bears like what 17, 18 points. Um let's do that. Yeah, 19 and a half. Okay. So I mean, I can see them getting 3 touchdowns for sure. And then the Eagles are almost implied for 30 points. So there's a lot of points that are expected in this game on both, even on both sides of the ball. So I think Justin Fields is a top 10 option. I would be starting him. I would honestly start him over Tua. I would start him over. Um, I would start him over Mike White, who we'll talk about in a little bit. I would start him maybe not over Kirk Cousins. Um, or yeah, maybe not over Kirk Cousins just because I think that game is going to be even more like I can I mean who are you starting over Justin Fields?
I have Jalen Hurts in like 4 leagues, 5 leagues.
I know. So I'm saying Jalen Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, probably
Herb,
Kirk Cousins, Herbert.
Gino,
I wouldn't start Gino over him, not against the Niners.
he's been killing it. I'm look. I
No,
like.
I hear
I
you.
want to see. No, no. I personally, what that's who I would.
Right.
Who? What other quarterbacks are? I agree with your statement though about starting him over Tua. Um,
That's that Trevor Lawrence. I would start him over Trevor Lawrence.
no, Fields over Lawrence.
I would start him over. I
What
mean,
about Baker Mayfield? I mean, I would start him over, but what are your thoughts on that? We got to talk off topic.
yeah, of
You talk
course,
about Baker
bro. Of course
Baker
we
at the
can.
Rams. Like, what's going on there? I want to know what you think of that.
Okay, so here's my thought process. Sean McVay loves Baker, loves him.
Yeah,
Baker getting an opportunity doesn't have is playing with nothing to lose, which is probably the best way for him to play, as opposed to him being the center focus and being the whole store and whatever. I mean, I think that there's going to be some like 2 weeks ago. I said that you don't start a Ram the rest of the season. I don't think that anymore. I think Ben Skoranek is someone that you can is definitely rosterable and definitely someone that you can put in a flex in a playoff matchup. He's someone that could be this year's not maybe not Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he could be this year's Braxton Berrios, who also won people fantasy championships last year. Um, and I don't know. I don't think that they're going to be like the Rams of 2021, but they're definitely more competent than they had been in the last few years. Cam Akers is definitely more of a flex option as well. But I Baker's still Baker. I want to see him. I want to see a defense really like plan for him for a full week. I mean, the Packers are nothing to get excited about. So it's going to be an interesting matchup on Monday night. But I mean, I'm like cautious optimism, maybe is what I'd say with Baker.
okay,
You know,
I hear that.
right?
Okay,
All right. Um, yeah, we're both taking the Eagles on this game, no?
yeah, but I wouldn't do -9. I think they'll cover. It's just like I don't do those kinds of bets.
No, you wouldn't put any money on it. Oh, and David Montgomery
No,
is also like he's a lower end RB, like he's in that mid tier, the lower tier RB2. And you're gonna fire up Miles Sanders. If Dallas Goedert plays, that's an interesting one because I mean, do you put him in right away, first week? He was a top 3 tight end before he got injured. It's a tough one. And then Cole here. How about this? Dallas Goedert first game back, or Cole Kmet on the other side, who's come on of late, but he's still
I
Kmet.
I would say Goddard.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that. All right. Well, that was enough time on this game. considering that we were so enthralled by it that we talked about the Rams. Love it. Okay, next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have this game is an interesting one because the Cowboys were, might I say, heavy favorites, just a little heavy favorites last week against the Houston Texans, and needed a 98-yard last second touchdown drive to win against the lowly Houston Texans. I haven't talked about the Houston Texans on this podcast in probably 2 months because they're so bad. And the Jaguars, who are coming off a big win against the Tennessee Titans, this game is also a very interesting one. Evan Ingram had the best game of his life. He will not have a good game this week against the number one defense against tight ends, and I think the number 2 defense in all of football. I mean, you're definitely gonna fire up your Zeke, your Tony Pollard, though that 2-headed monster is rocking and rolling. I mean, Dak, another quarterback who I would have Justin Fields over in this matchup. I don't like the Jaguars have been giving up oodles and oodles of points to the quarterback position, but I don't know. Dak's been turning the ball over. He hasn't been really moving the needle as far as fantasy points. I would be looking for other options. Like I would have Mike White, Kirk Cousins, all those guys over a Dak. Tua I'd have over Dak even. I don't know. What's your feeling on this game? It's like
I think I want Dallas to lose.
obviously.
Think they will, and I think that
You think that the Jacksonville is gonna win? Who's
no, no, I think no, no, I think let me rephrase. I think Dallas will win. What did I say?
Okay.
Yeah, I think Dallas wins. I think that they're going to run the ball down. I think Tony Pollard is gonna, just gash them, and that's why I think it'll be like a couple of touchdowns. I think maybe like 24-15 area for Jacksonville. I think, but I think it's gonna be like a run, punch you in the mouth type of game.
Oh, okay. I like that. I mean that Jacksonville's been airing it out a lot recently, but I definitely hear what I mean. Travis Etienne has been not good as it
Terrible.
really not like hurting your fantasy team bad. After a nice like 5-6 game stretch in the middle of the year, and like you put him in that like you're starting him no matter what territory, and he's just taking that spot and punched you in the groin with it because it has not been pretty
Yes.
for number one for Jacksonville. You're gonna be starting your Dalton Schultz, your Christian Kirk, even your I don't know, spot starter Zay Jones. Would you have Zay Jones or Michael Gallup in this? I would have Michael Gallup personally. Flex.
I'm just trying to think which one's going to score the touchdown. I'd probably go with Michael Gallup if I really had to choose.
Right.
But
you don't want to have that
yeah, that's a
decision
shitty
to make.
choice. That's a shitty
That's
choice.
that's not a fun choice to make. For sure. Here, let's pivot now to CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is gonna be, I think, definitely wide receiver. Obviously, the wide receiver one in this game. Now, what am I expecting from him? I don't know. I feel like I haven't had the CeeDee Lamb big game as of late. I mean, in the last 5 weeks, he's had All right, so the CeeDee Lamb game was exactly 5 weeks ago. He had a tough game against Houston. Then he had then he had wide receiver one numbers against Indy and the Giants, 15 and 18 points respectively. A down game against the Minnesota Vikings. If you remember, that was a big blowout spot. So wasn't necessary in that game. And then the 5 weeks ago, he had that big game, 11 for 150 against and 2 touchdowns against the Green Bay Packers. So I saying that I haven't had the CeeDee Lamb game in a while. This has the feeling of a CeeDee Lamb game, and like that's where I want like there's part of me that's like projecting this, but at the same time I just feel like it do.
Like my prediction would be like 7 for 80 with no touchdown
Really.
for CeeDee
Ooh,
Lamb.
so
Yeah,
that's that for a lot of people that's going to be very disappointing.
yeah. Well, you need the touchdowns. It's fantasy playoffs. You know, the teams that weren't scoring touchdowns aren't in the playoffs.
No, obviously, but even if he got, let's say you got 9 for 125, like and no
Yeah,
touchdown, that you're taking that, or
yeah. Obviously,
8 for
but
105, I'm taking that also. I mean,
yeah,
it's almost
I hear like I don't think he goes over 100 yards. I think this is
okay.
gonna be like
I
I think like 90 from Zeke and 160 from Pollard, 150 from Pollard. I think it's gonna
you're
be
big
crazy.
on Pollard, man. Uh,
Yeah, and I'm the one that has Zeke, but
all
Zeke's gonna
them
score.
Pollard props.
It's crazy. I think it. Yeah, Jerry Jones
Yeah,
loves
man.
himself some Zeke though, so we start him.
Oh, absolutely.
You
I'm
know,
gonna take the Cowboys minus the 4.5 on the road. Which I don't know if that's good for the Jaguars. Me going to the Jaguars game, if they're coming off a loss or coming off a win, like I don't know what's good. But let's talk about the team that I will be going to root for in that game. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions at my New York Jets. It's been a rough stretch for the last couple of weeks for my Jetsies. Two L's in a row. 2 weeks in a row with game defining drives that have ended with the turning the ball over, whether it's on an interception against the Vikings or it's on downs against the Bills. But the one thing I'll say about my New York Jets is that we are in every single game, no matter what. Mike White is a competent, good quarterback who is very well equipped, very well loved, and let's be honest, a freaking warrior stud. Like I thought he was broken in half, but that Matt Milano hit, I thought the man was a twig that went snap. That that was not an okay. Oh man, that was just rough. Um,
I'm glad he didn't snap in half.
no, that would have been really bad. I would have been really sad, and we would have had to see statue Joe Flacco for more time than we already did. Obviously, when he went into the game, Flacco fumbled. That was the 3 points for the Bills, and it was tough sledding from there for the Jets. Now, Jared Goff is someone that's been a top 5 quarterback the last 2 weeks. And a lot of teams are going to be wanting to continue to ride with that going into the fantasy playoffs. You don't do it against the Jets. Not on the road, not where Jared Goff is not in his dome, not doing well, not a road quarterback at by any stretch. And this Jets defense just is a top 5 defense everywhere you look against the pass, against the run. The run they're a little bit more susceptible, which is why I think Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift are both good options in this game. But like I would be starting Amon Ra for the what's it called for the Lions. I would be starting Amon Ra, Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift. End of sentence.
Okay, I agree with you.
Chark's been catching fire. Jameson Williams, obviously coming off the ACL, is getting more involved. Had the big long touchdown last week for 40 yards. But DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner are just too legit, too good, and it's not someone I would be trying to target in my fantasy playoffs. No, nothing.
No, nothing.
On
Nothing. I'm just thinking, yeah.
the Jets side, though, Mike White's a great streamer. I would put him over Tua. I would not put him
Okay.
Kirk Cousin. What?
I said okay. Like I'm clocking
I,
what you're saying. Sorry.
I would not put him over Tua. Now I would put it over Tua. I wouldn't put him over Justin Fields. Um, or Kirk Cousins. Would put him over Dak, obviously. But he's in that QB 8 to 10 range where like you're gonna be happy if you don't have one of the top guys and like you're looking for points. Definitely Mike White in this game against the Lions defense, who have been given up, I believe, the most points to quarterbacks over the last 6 weeks. Yes, that is the correct stat right there. And I believe also to wide receivers, they have been giving up the third most points in football over the last 6 weeks. So Garrett Wilson, stud among studs, wide receiver one, is going to have a very nice day. Now with Corey Davis possibly out with a concussion, Coach Saw has been saying that he's progressing well. I don't think he plays. That opens up the door for one Mr. Elijah Moore, who did receive 10 targets last week and is definitely someone to keep an eye on for the fantasy playoffs as someone that could emerge as a go-to option. The Braxton Berrios, if you will, because that's the same team, and it would be nice to get him involved. And you're going to start Bam Knight also because Bam Knight is great. If anybody has any shares of Breece Hall, this makes you a little bit hesitant because now the Jets might have a second rookie back that's nice and electric. So yeah, where do you see this?
Yeah, I think this is like a 30-20 game. I don't know in whose favor. I think there are points put up here in this game. I don't think it's going to
Might
be
be
a
over
slow one.
44.5.
Yeah, I think so.
What did you say that the score was?
Like 30-20. It's like someone's going to score 30 and someone's going to score
Okay, got
like
you.
20. So it'll be like a 32-25 game or something like that.
Shocker of all shockers, I'm taking the Jets.
Oh, no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely. I mean, Jared Goff on the road, I think that the Jets end up turning them over, and that's where the difference in the game is going to be. I don't think Mike White turns the ball over in this game. Whether or not the Jets fumble, that's a different story. Let's not fumble the ball, Michael Carter. Thank you. So that is where we lie. All right, last game to talk about before we talk about fantasy playoff action. We got the Tennessee Titans at the. I was about to say San Diego. Wow, wow. Whew. I haven't made that mistake. Like I haven't. So I'm very happy I caught myself. At the Los Angeles Chargers, Derrick Henry, the king. He came back. He was great finally after a month. But he fumbled twice and lost 2 fumbles.
Yes, the king.
It was right. He's still the king, absolutely. And you're gonna this game is interesting. The Titans have been struggling. I think that was 3 straight that they've lost. And firing their GM after getting smacked by the Eagles. I mean, this is a 3-point home spread for the Chargers, which means in Vegas, that means even on a even playing field. So I don't know. I want to hear your opinion before I give my overall.
I think I think that the Chargers may be on to finding their groove because this year I feel like they have not been what was expected of them. And
Right.
I think that if they figure it out, right, if they get their two wide receivers back, they have the quarterback, they have the running back, I think they could put up a lot of points. I think they cover 3. I think they cover -3 here. And I think that I think there's going to be points. I'd say also over on the points as well.
So
I think a big game, and I think like 3 touchdowns from Tennessee. I think like 2 from Henry and then someone else. Um, and then Tennessee, I just think is just going to outshoot them pretty much.
So it's interesting that you say that because Tennessee, who what was that? In week 14 lost, they put up 22 points. Okay. So Tennessee before last week was only at I had said it on the podcast last week, was only averaging 18.25 points a game. Obviously putting up 22, they're probably up to like what 19, let's say. Point
Mm-hmm.
and if my math checks out, their over under is in this game is about 21 implied points. Let's just check that real quick. Yeah, 22 and a half. So the under is the over is juiced and the under is giving you even odds. I don't know. I the real thing is that the Chargers run defense is terrible. And obviously Derrick Henry is great. But here's the problem with Derrick Henry. Their offensive line has not given him a chance to get his head of steam. I mean, before last week, his largest run over the last month was 10 yards.
Oh,
It
wow.
it's really not been good. However, it's Derrick Henry, so I'm not gonna doubt that he's gonna get it going. I mean, it's December football, smash mouth. It's actually indoors. He plays better on the road, surprisingly, than he does at home. If you look at his historic stats, um, so it's definitely sets up very well for him, and I'm very excited to see what he does, especially because I have him in best ball and in and in one of my playoff matchups. But I don't see a lot of other options. And I mean, Traylon Burks is still in concussion protocol. That's another week after he got hurt, so he's like multiple weeks in the protocol, which is never a good thing. Which means that I mean that hit was vicious, so it makes a little bit of sense. But an extra week in the protocol, I don't know. So Chiga Conquo is going to be their wide receiver 1, basically, with Robert Woods actually being a DNP today. Um, so I see them struggling to put up points. Ryan Tannehill is, I mean, I think it's time to move on from him. It's probably time to move on from Malik Willis also. I don't see much from him either. Um, but you know, I like the Chargers because last week I actually challenged Justin Herbert to show me that he was actually that great. Again, I said that I love Justin Herbert. I think he's awesome, but he just wasn't putting up the like he wasn't overcoming the way that other quarterbacks have overcome with lesser options. But once you saw having Keenan Allen, having Mike Williams, Joshua Palmer, and Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett as a tight end, who even did nothing last week, but still having him there is helpful. Um, you just saw that he was basically making the first man miss every single time. Like you just watched that game against the Dolphins. Dolphins were blitzing all over the place, but it didn't matter because Herbert was just making that first guy miss, having enough time outside the numbers, and just putting it on Keenan Allen, putting it on Mike Williams, and just making making things happen with his legs outside the pocket. And when he was able to stand in there, he also was making plays. So I like the Chargers as well in this game. It makes me a little bit nervous because I love the Titans, always have. I love Derrick Henry, so it's weird when I'm not on them. But I think that's what's going to happen in this game. You're gonna start all those options that we mentioned, but yeah.
Do
Okay,
you start Palmer at a potential flex?
I do. It depend. Give me names, and then I can tell you who, because I would put him in like that mid tier. The Titans' defense against the pass is over the last 6 weeks, I believe, is the second worst in football. It is second worst
Oh wow.
football, just behind the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, if you have any names, I would tell you, like, I would start
That
bringing
was the only one. I mean, I
in.
like Keenan Allen, Herbert, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, right? They all get the head nod, right? Without even thinking,
Absolutely.
right? So the question would be Palmer, and then on the other side of the ball, Tennessee. Like I mean, Henry, the king is pretty much maybe Okaku, whatever his name is.
Okonkwo is, I mean,
I think yeah, him too. But I
rest
like
to start him in the playoffs.
those are the only two I say from Tennessee.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Hey, well, we got two playoff matchups this week. Neither of them involve yourself in League Bound uh, because you have the bye. But let's go to first up. We got the Marylis brothers, the 5-4-5 matchup. The Marylis brothers against the Mincemen. Um, oh, there's snow in the forecast for the Bills game, as we said. So that's nice to see. Excuse me. So, we got two play. Look at this. This sets up perfectly. What the guys that we've mentioned on here right now? We got Field
Yep.
versus Mike White. Now, we already said I give the edge to Justin Fields in this just because of his legs. Um, who do you see in the running back room? Let's go with that first.
In the running back room.
Yeah,
It's
that includes the flexes.
that includes the flick. Oh my God, Maryland Bros. I think just have Chubb. If we're looking at all three, I think Chubb is yeah. I give it to Maryland. Cook, Taylor, and Chubb is a nice. That's
Absolutely,
nice.
I agree with you. I do think that Josh Jacobs has a very good game against New England, even though they're probably going to try and take either him or Devontae Adams away. I'm trying to see if there's like any necessarily like questions as far as the start sits. Not really. We got Olave, Godwin, and Cooper. Cooper is a little bit of a question mark versus Hopkins, Hill, and Kirk. I think we're gonna give the W to Marilis in this. Um, I mean, New England is the X factor, is an X factor. So I can see them
Yeah,
their
I
car
agree.
a lot in that game. No?
No, no, I agree 100%. I agree. Like Bill Belichick is phenomenal over there, and give him a week, and he'll choose who he wants to eliminate.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna give the W to Maryland, but with the caveat that if New England scores more than 14 points defensively, I give the win set the set.
Okay.
It's a weird mix. Hawkinson versus Schultz, I think, is a little bit of a even split, but like that's where I see the matchup going.
Okay.
All right. And then for the 3-6 matchup, Filer's squad, who somehow got the 3 seed after selling, after whatever happened. Um, Joseph Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. Well, we know who wins this matchup when they actually face each other. That would be JB, Joey Burrow, unfortunately, for us Patrick Mahomes lovers. But I'm going to start with the receiver room. Brandon Ayuk thinks going to have a great game. Devontae Smith thinks going to have a great game. Jerry Judy also thinks going to have a great game. Great matchup. Why? Like I love this matchup wise for Filer, but if you look at the other side of the coin for Akiva and Yoni, CMC, they just have the better players. I mean,
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, and DK Metcalf, like that's definitely better. But I wouldn't be surprised if Filer's team ended up outscoring them. Like I wouldn't be. Like, no.
I'm. It's tough. Like
Jeff Driscoll, I love it. I love it.
like
QB tight end eligibility, Jeff Driscoll. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Go
is he starting? No.
no, so they're platooning.
Okay.
Him
So
and
they're gonna.
Davis Mills have been, especially in last game, they platoon. So it's like 50% of the snaps. If you can get a 50% of the snaps from a quarterback in a tight end position,
Yeah, I hear that could be
the
something
better.
nice.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I love the play. I really I love the play. You got to shoot your shot when you're playing it. Probably when you're the underdog in this. So
Yeah. Playoffs. Do what you
let's
got
say
to do.
Jeff Driscoll has a big like a big touchdown run or touchdown pass. Like you're not getting that from whoever he has as his other tight end option, which Darren Waller right off the injury. Like I would take Jeff Driscoll. And then Montgomery versus Juju. I mean, I'm gonna give the edge to Montgomery in that. Because you
Agreed.
never know who's getting the ball in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, I'm still gonna give the edge to Mark Andrews, but yeah, Tony Pollard.
Well, I already said what I thought about that. He's a
What?
beast. I already said what I thought about Tony Pollard.
Exactly.
I just think
Najee.
it's. I think it's going to get evened out by Henry.
Right.
That's the only problem.
So exactly, and then Najee versus Aaron Jones. I mean, talent wise, right now, I would give it to Aaron Jones, but I can see that going either way. Also, this matchup is a lot closer. Like you would think it's one side. Like you would 100% just looking at it, you would say, "Oh, of course, Akiva and Yoni are gonna win." This matchup is
Yeah.
much closer. I'm gonna give like I want Akiva and Yoni's team to win because I have Derrick Henry, I have DK Metcalf. I have those players, but I also have Brandon Ayuk. So okay, it may even out a little bit, but I'm gonna give the upset win to Filer in this game. Even Yoni go home after going all in, and yeah, that's how I see this game.
I'll respectfully disagree with you, but yeah,
Okay, I like
yeah.
it. So if I'm correct, you are playing the winner of this match. No, you're playing the winner of Mints versus the Maris brothers.
Doesn't matter. It's all the same. Just whoever's next.
That's not true. I mean, I would argue that it does matter.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, you're playing the winner of Filer versus Ivan.
Very excited.
Okay, interesting. All right, we made it. I'm not gonna go through my team, unless you want to, but we don't really have so much time. Uh, I'm a big favorite. I don't like that I'm a big favorite in my matchup. Like it's weird. Um, but let's just say we need Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara to have nice games. Let's let's have nice games. They haven't been good recently, so let's do what we're expected to do when you're first round picks in fantasy. All right, all good.
I understand.
All
I
right,
hear.
all righty, Avery. It's been a pleasure. Good luck in all of your fantasy playoffs. I hope that we both get W's, and it's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you as always.
All right, go Jets, and see you all next week. Good luck, everybody.